Why are we so conflicted to celebrate the small wins? So natural to just wait to celebrate the big milestones.
Hello, my name is Lucy Macridis, and I am voiced by Lucy, your go-to voice for impactful storytelling and dynamic delivery.
Hi, this is Lucy, your clarity coach, and this is Tuesday Talks at 3. Welcome to the May Grace to Grow series, where we help you move from one day to the other with consistent actions so that you can be able to experience your own growth. I mean, today's question is just amazing. Why do we feel so conflicted to celebrate the small wins? Well, the question that we are seeking to answer today is how then can you honor these small wins since we're bringing it up to the fore and just allowing ourselves to interact with it? How then can we honor these small wins? Well, there's one thing we need to acknowledge and be cognizant of is the fact that even though we've got these big milestones that we have been, we have been celebrated with over and over, and hence we are conditioned to look out for them because the silent ones nobody sees. That even though that is a reality, the growth is happening in the small wins. That big win, and let me talk about graduations. We celebrate graduations. Doesn't matter how old you are or what it is you were studying. Just the final, the culmination, the arriving at the end of is cause to celebrate. And that's amazing. That's beautiful. But if you sit with anybody who has gone through that journey, and maybe it is you, they will tell you about the things that happened along the way. Some were hard, some were difficult, moments that they wanted to quit. Therein lies the small wins. Because if they had quit, there would be no graduation today. But we concentrate so much on this big milestone, which is great and we must celebrate it, that we forget that we need to celebrate the internal self, the intrinsic self, the part that nobody else gets to see. Because once I pass this examination, I get this pass mark and I get this interesting document that tells me you did this, you walked this journey. Everybody else now is privy to it. It's beautiful, isn't it? You feel affirmed, but this is external affirmation. We want to work on the internal affirmation, the intrinsic growth. And how do we do that? By honoring those small wins. I want you to look at the journey that you're traveling right now. There is an end goal. But what is it right now that you can celebrate? What is it that you can overlook right now? You have been overlooking. And you will continue to overlook, and everybody else will, because it is these silent moments that are not celebrated. Nobody can see, and it is very human to want everybody to see what you're doing, such that when you have these small growth aspects in your life, you overlook the progress and you water it down and say, but this is what is expected. I'm welcoming you to look at that process, that progress, because that's where the small wins happen. If you quit today, there will be no graduation or there will be no culmination to this journey. So why not celebrate these little instances? And if you've been watching YouTube videos, you'll see there's timelines. So take that metaphor of timelines and apply it in your life. If this journey of mine is taking 1 year, what are the different timelines that I can celebrate? I have finished 30 days and I have not quit despite the challenges that I faced. So when you ignore this consistency, it is because the progress feels slow. When you ignore the consistency, it's because the progress feels slow. Rome was not built in a day. It's as simple as that. Think about the Wall of China. It was not built in a day. Consider what people could have been going through as they were building Rome and as they were building the Wall of China. It was not a bed of roses. They did not give up. They celebrated the small things. They finished this wall. They finished this building. And that is you. So I come back to that question again. And I ask you to write down 3. I have a rule of thumb for 3. And if you follow me, you'll realize everything about Lucy is 3. So write down 3 small wins that you have experienced, maybe today, maybe in the past week, maybe last month, maybe since the year started. You decide the timeline. But write down the 3 small wins, something that is current. I don't want you to consider something that's already passed, that you've already graduated, you've already ended that journey. I want you to look at the journey that you're experiencing right now that you are walking on. So whether it is in your relationships, whether it is your financial journey, whether it is your spiritual journey, it doesn't matter. Look at that journey right now and write down, for your sake, 3 small wins. And I guarantee you, your confidence to remain on this consistent journey will be boosted. So how about reinforcing growth through celebration? I just want to share something with you. You're all familiar with my vision board, which is the 2026 Vision Board Planner. Now, this is my copy, and I ensure that I also am populating this vision board. So talking about those small wins and now reinforcing growth through celebration, when we finish the first quarter of this year, there is a page that allows you to have gratitude and thanksgiving. And here I encourage you to put down 10 things. As you can see, I've already populated it. But these are not things that I just populated on the day of gratitude. It was going on during the 3 months that were building up to the quarter. And this allowed me, at the end of that first quarter, to be realistic about where I have been able to have successes and the lessons that I have learned. Remember that we also talked about having support in episode 3. And this book also allows you to do that. In your thanksgiving aspect, if I was to guide you, who do I want to thank? That is somebody that you allowed to walk along this path with you. Again, those timelines, using the metaphor of YouTube. What blessings surprised me. Because as you're going with those timelines and you're celebrating these small wins, you actually get very surprised that this is something that's happening. Allow yourself that joy. The one that I love is, what lessons strengthened me? Yes, we can call it failure, but I'm using the word lessons here, which allow us. In fact, if I can just give you a sneak peek to my last quarter, I said price rejections. And I got a couple of those and I've put them here. And I've written down what the lesson is for me. And that for me is growth. So then, how do we reinforce growth through celebration? This is one way to celebrate. Ensure that you're journaling your journey. When you journal your journey, when you journal your journey, you are able to have a place where you can refer to. And this gives you an additional 42% of being able to reach that day of graduation, whatever graduation is, that culmination of this journey. So being able to grow like this, it multiplies when it is recognized and celebrated. So let's celebrate those small wins. I want to thank you so much for accompanying me in this May series, which is the Grace to Grow series, where we've covered 4 areas. We looked at curiosity, we looked at feedback, we looked at stretching yourself, and now we finished it so well with celebration. Let this be your portion. Until the next series, let us help build one another. And remember, be kind to yourself.